All right, gentlemen and ladies, welcome to another edition of Stogie 411. As you can see, I am joined by my sexy co-host here, Mr. Michael Williams. How you doing today, Mike?
I'm good, brother. I'm good, man. Looking forward to another You Ask It show. Thanks for everybody joining us in the chat room. We see we got some new people in there. I want to thank all the new people for coming in. Don't know what happened. We had a little technical difficulty there a second ago, but we got it fixed.
Yep.
We're back, and away we go. So basically, it's an episode of You Ask It. We had people emailed us, DM'd us, Twitter us questions. We're going to ask them. If you want to ask a question, feel free. If you want us to call you, just let us know. If you haven't sent a request to Hogman211 on Skype, send one and I'll approve it. And we'll try to get to everybody. So here we go. Sit back, smoke a cigar, relax, and have. Let's take it away. So we'll start off with the first one, Mikey. We'll start with Bob in Maryland. He said, what are some of your favorite smokes from 2012? So why don't you take it away?
Check out my top list.
That's a cheap
yeah, you like that? Well, like I said, I mean, my number one, actually, I'm smoking it here. I'm down to the nub. Is the Emilio Cigars AF Suave. And for me, you know, I'm mild to medium smoker. It just really fits, you know, for my palate. Another cigar I've been smoking a lot of is the, which camera here? It's the Rocky Patel Freedom. I love that smoke. Actually, my wife got me this for Christmas in the big 60 ring gauge. I never had the 60. I always smoked the Toro size. So, but other than that, I mean, I've smoked like San Latania Oval in the Gordo size. I just love that cigar. I don't care for the Maduro as much as the natural for me. And again, you know, there's a lot of cigars that I've tried that I just haven't smoked a whole lot of yet that, you know, it's hard to make a determination until I smoke more. So, but those would be a couple of them anyway. So what about you?
Yeah, definitely the Headley Grange for me. CYB by Hoya de Nicaragua. That's another cigar. I'm loving the La Dueña by Pete Johnson and Jenny Garcia. Man, there's so many good cigars that came out. Oh, the one I'm smoking right now is the Rocky Patel, the burned, the Naples one, and actually Mikey got me on this one. And this cigar, I'm really enjoying this cigar. This is a nice smoke. Like you said, there's just so many of them. The Ortega Series D. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on, but there's been a lot of cigars. But those cigars kind of really stick out for me of what I enjoyed this year.
Cool. All kinds of good stuff. I mean, there's been a lot of really nice cigars out there. Now, you know, I'm going to ask, along with that, I'm going to ask the people in the chat right now, and even if you watch this afterwards, let us comment on the site. For this past year, what would be your top cigar? You know, it doesn't matter if you know, I don't care if you run a site, I don't, you know, just a normal, average, everyday smoker. I want to know what is your top cigar for this year that, and it doesn't, you know, a lot of the top lists, and I'm going to say this, and I'm not sure if Mike agrees with me or not. We haven't really talked about it, but for the top 10 lists, the only thing that I hate about them is if you don't have a chance to smoke every single cigar that came out this past year, it feels like you're omitting some people. And until you have a chance to try them, how do you know if you like them or not?
Yeah, no, I would agree with you. That's why, you know, when I do mine, I always say what I smoked, you know. You can't, you try to get to every cigar. A, it's expensive. B, you know, it's tough, you know, especially in the winter. If you don't have a place to smoke, it's really hard. You know, who's going to stay outside in the snow and freezing cold for 2 hours? But, yeah, I mean, you know, I always do it by what I smoke, and that's the way I take it from there. So why don't you ask John's question? He's got a good question.
Hold on. I'm doing technical stuff. You go ahead.
Oh, no, he's doing hey, Captain Billy, thanks for joining us. John G., let's take John's question. He said, outside of your top list of cigars, what less talked about or less mentioned cigars have you enjoyed this year? What lesser known cigar has really surprised you this year?
Oh.
That's
well,
a two-parter.
And I'm gonna steal it first. That way, Matt can check my mic volumes while I'm doing this too. It actually made my list, and it's the Regius, or Regius, Regius. It's a cigar that's coming in from London. It was big overseas, and they're bringing it into the United States. I was hoping it would have more exposure by now in the United States, but it hasn't. And that's one I think you should definitely, if you see them, give it a try.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, and I'm going to pronounce this wrong, so don't hate me, but my pronunciation sucks if you know me. I would say the Pete Johnson and the La Atelier, I always say it wrong, but that cigar in the Lot 54, that cigar I think is, in my opinion, one of the sleeper cigars. You really didn't hear a lot about it, and now the buzz is going crazy. So that cigar for me, I'm digging. And I'll say this burn from Naples, this cigar is another one that I'm really digging. For a lesser known cigar, man, I can't think of a lesser known cigar that I smoked. So yeah, I can't give you an answer on that second part, Johnny. Sorry, buddy. I can't think of a lesser known cigar that I really have smoked. What about you, Mike? Just that, just the one you said?
It's both. Both tables there. I kind of lucked out with that one, huh?
Yes, you did. You did luck out with that one, actually.
But, other than that, like I said, like even the Burn Naples, that's a nationwide release. Now, the neat thing about that is, comparing it to the original, I had a chance to smoke one. Actually, Rob Griff sent me one of those. Yeah.
The Griffmeister.
And, I got to try that. I reviewed it, and then I got to try the nationwide release, which is that Naples, Florida one. And it's just kind of neat when something like that happens that you get to try,
Yeah, no doubt. It definitely. I on your recommendation, I tried it, and I'm enjoying it. Well, let's see. Corey couldn't join us today because his son's stuck in the fridge, but that's a joke. So if you know anything about our show, you know what that joke means. But Corey sent in some questions. Why don't we get to one of the questions he asked us, Mike? He said, what is your most used cigar-related accessory outside of an ashtray, cutter, lighter, and the Norm?
It's kind of, what's the norm? Well, I have actually I have it laying right here. Would it be the norm? I have the Havana Saver, for the for the poker, the cigar holder, whatever you want to basically use it for, you can use it for. This one's actually a golf ball marker too. You can, for marking where your golf ball is. But I it's kind of hard. I saw that question. I was trying to think of myself. Well, what's the norm?
Yeah.
I mean, I use my Zycar cutter. I normally use my little blowtorch here.
Yeah. I agree with you, man. I use the same thing. The only thing, to me, it's still an ashtray, but I use that Bobkin for my truck a lot. That's kind of like the what is that? The Zycar's got the ash in a can, or what's it called there?
Yeah, the ash
metal
can, I think it is, isn't it?
Ash can. And I would say my Bobkin, outside of that, that's probably the thing I use the most that's not normally used every day unless you're smoking in your car every day. So, but that's about it.
Yeah, I use the
that was a tough
I
question.
use the Bobkin, like when I go to events or I'm in the car and stuff like that. But yeah, it's I have to thank Walt for that. Actually, Walt gave me that because I was always too stupid to pick one up. I kept forgetting every time I'd see one. So,
yeah, oh, really? Yeah, John, I agree with you a lot. Muslim, that's a good cigar, man. That's another good one. Yeah.
All right. Let's try. How about another question here? Jesse in New York. This is going to be interesting.
Hey, Jesse in New York. Right.
He wants to know, or she wants to. I don't know.
So no, I don't know if it's a guy or a girl. Yeah, I don't know.
If you could blend a cigar, what region of tobacco would it be, and flavor strength.
Wow. I would say for me, it would probably be Dominican. Flavors, I would definitely look for complexity, as I look for in cigars myself. I would like to see some nice changes, some nice flavors. Strength would definitely. I'm a full guy, but I'd go medium to full so others could possibly enjoy it if I was going to blend one. I'll admit I would need a lot of help to blend it. Let's put it that way. Yeah, I'd probably go more towards Dominican because I'm not a big fan of that peppery Nicaraguan zing. So I would definitely probably go more towards Dominican. Maybe with a Mexican Maduro wrapper. There we go. That's what I would do, Jesse. How about you, Mike?
Well, I would probably do a mixture. I mean, I'm not partial really to any one region per se. I would love to do, ever since the EP Korea released that New Wave Connecticut, I would love to do a Connecticut cigar, with the same amount of flavor that one has. I would love to do a cigar like that because that's, mild to medium for me is my perfect zone. And even like the AF Suave, it just has a lot of flavor for me, with whatever blends are doing it. But it's like you said, I would need a ton of help because to get flavor, from a Connecticut, it's going to be a little difficult.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that's I would like to see a mixture of them, of different regions, of different tobaccos, and just go from there. Maybe even a Lancaster broadleaf wrapper would be nice, since I live close to Lancaster here.
Yep. Yeah, Matt says Ecuadorian Habano. That's another good one.
Yeah. Oh, my favorite, Cameroon would be just awesome to do one in. Cameroon wrapper.
Yeah.
I love a good Cameroon wrap cigar, but Cameroon's expensive right now.
Yeah, well, everything's expensive right now, but
true.
Well, let's see. Let's take Captain Billy's question. How many of the cigars you smoke each year are paid for versus samples given to you by a manufacturer? That's a nice question, Billy. You trying to find some insight on what we give free and what we pay for? You want to start it?
Probably 95% paid for, 5% free. I mean, it's kind of strange. I've said it before in the blogosphere. A lot of people think that you get so many free cigars, and I rarely get anything in the mail. Or I actually get more cigars like from a rep or at an event, with manufacturers handing me a cigar to smoke or something while I'm there, than what I do anytime in the mail. I'm lucky to get one package maybe every 2-3 months at the most.
Yeah, I would say mine's probably 70% I buy, 30%'s given to me, and I wouldn't say the full 30 is from manufacturers. I would probably say it's probably 20% manufacturers, 10% from friends, or people I just know who I send cigars to, and they send cigars back to me. But I'd say 70% of it, I buy, 20% from manufacturers, 10% from friends.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I'm gonna change mine. Let's make it 90-10, because I wasn't figuring the cigars, I get from friends and people who just, like my reviews and things like that.
Right. Yeah, so hopefully that answers your question there, Billy. And again, if anybody wants to call in, just send a request or, let me know in the chat. You can call your questions in. We can take the call now, and we'd be happy to have you on.
We have to call you. Just let us know that you want to call.
Yeah, we would have to call you. Don't call us.
You.
Right. But, yeah, so.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go with the next one.
This is interesting, too. I'm going down the list here. Mark in D.C. how hard is it to do what you do, and how much preparation goes into this show? Wow.
Let's see. I'm going to start this one only because something funny. How hard is it to do what we do? I wouldn't say it's hard to do what we're doing sitting here. It's hard to get prepared for it. It's hard to book guests for it. The funny part is how much preparation. Well, I'll give you this much information. We were all chatting last night all the ways into this morning. We were already sitting at our computers at 11:30 this morning because we have so much going on with the show and so much revamp that we're doing, as you guys will see in a couple months with our site and our logo and a new server. I mean, we're doing so many different things that we got coming up that we're trying to make the show more fun and interesting, so we can get more viewers to the show, because that's what keeps us going. But we probably prepare, each show is every other week. So that week prior to that, we're already making preparations for that show. But for booking guests, I mean, we try our best to book guests, months in advance. Unfortunately, lately, we've had some struggles with that for whatever reasons they may be. But it's easy to do this part. This is the easy part right here. The live part is the fun, easy part. Everything prior to that it takes a lot of time, away from your family and, other things that you have to do. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, now, if you want to talk about when we first started, then the preparation time was probably about 100 times more than what we have to do now. The hardest part, I think, was getting everything set up, everything working properly, or as properly as we can get it. It's just the idea, like whichever one of us broadcasts the show, we actually have two computers running at the same time to send video from one to the other to get it out to the internet, so you guys and gals can see our beautiful faces. but yeah, so now like Mike said, the easy part is actually doing, the live show. Even coming up with questions for manufacturers and things like that really isn't all that hard. It's more like Matt does a lot of the behind the scenes work, with the website, with the broadcasting, with getting the video up, with, that's the stuff that takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to really get going. And testing, we have to test constantly with different things that we're doing, with different video things that we're doing. And it's just like I've been adjusting my microphone here during the live show, if you notice, because Matt said, I was loud, and I was soft, and I have to update. It's like every show we have to go through and try to adjust a lot of these settings to make it right for at that moment. So it's a little demanding. Like before the show, I was actually down here probably around 10:30, 11:15, getting logos and different things in case we have people who want to come on live. So it takes a little bit, but I think it's well worth it.
No, absolutely. I agree with you. We've definitely come a long way. Most of the people that are following us now have been with us from day one, and how far we've come. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot of your time, a lot of money, and it takes a lot to bring this to you. But we do it because we're like all of you in the chat room. We're passionate about cigars, and we just like sharing what we can with you. We like having you come and hang out with us for a little while. It's fun, so that's why we keep doing it. But yeah, it's time consuming, so we do what we got to do, right? Look, what's it getting a little cold?
No, I actually turned it down a little bit. My back was starting to burn.
There you go. Well, let's see. Corey's got another one. This is a good one, actually. He put, what do you guys do if you do? What do you guys do if you do? That's a good one, Corey. Basically, what he's asking: what do you do to mask or cover up the smell of cigars from friends and family He says, my wife hates the smell of stale cigar smoke on me or in my car. Hey, Foozer joined us. So go ahead, Mikey. You start with you. Take that one away.
I get new friends or a divorce.
You better hope she's not watching.
I mean, my wife smokes cigarettes, but I mean, she never, like when I was smoking upstairs, and I agree, cigar smoke is really heavy and it really permeates everything. But now that I'm down here in the basement, I mean, there's no smell whatsoever upstairs, that goes up there. And for the smell down there, I actually bought a thing of charcoal briquettes, a bag, and just cut it open and left them lay here on the floor to help, soak up some of the odors, along with my air purifier, that I run. Yeah. For your clothes, there's really nothing you can do but wash them, as far as I know.
Yeah, or you're going to sit there spraying Febreze on you constantly, one of the two. But yeah, I mean, in here in the Stogie 401 studios here in my house, it's ventilated. I have a vent, takes out the smoke, fresh air comes in. But one thing I did, somebody told me, I've never tried this, so I don't know if it works, but if somebody in the room wants to try it, let us know. He said when you buy these little air fresheners, they come in a tin can about that round with a little top, and they have a sponge in there, and it absorbs all the smell. When that shrinks down from absorbing, he says throw it out and take a very strong coffee grinds and put it in the can and put it under your seat. And for some reason, he says it absorbs the odors of the cigar. Now, I've never tried it. I don't know if it works. I usually only smoke in my car in the summer, so I can have the window down. I don't usually smoke in the winter in my car, living in upstate New York. But yeah, for your clothes, you got to wash. Don't go near your wife, Corey, till after you wash if it bothers her that much. And yeah, it's like you said, cigar smoke's very dense. It's very strong. It lingers around for a while. Unless you're well ventilated, you're always gonna know it's there. And if your wife doesn't smoke, she's really gonna know the smell is there. So try that. Try the coffee grinds and let me know how it works, Corey. Maybe it'll work. I don't know.
And I agree with Matt. You're a freaking wuss. Crack the damn window and smoke in the winter.
Me? No, I am a wuss, and no, I will not crack. I got a man cave, so it don't matter to me, but I'm not smoking in the truck in the winter. No goddamn way. It's too cold, man. Too cold. Oh, Corey, there we go. Foozer's got a good one, Mike. Go ahead and take Foozer's question. So hopefully, Corey, that answered your question. And like Mike said, if that doesn't work, get a new wife.
Oh, okay. Foozer says, I just recharged my beads, the little humidity beads that you can put in for your humidor and such. And it spikes the humidity up like crazy. How do you get it back down? Or back to normal? Good.
I don't use beads, but that's normal for it to spike up like that once you, especially if you're recharging your beads and your humidity drop, let's just say 5%, okay? And you're recharging it. It's going to take a little bit. It's going to do a lot to get that humidity up. But depending on how you have a humidor or if you're in a Tupperware, I don't know how you're storing them. You open it and closing it a few times, the humidity will fluctuate by opening and closing. But if you use the Boveda packs, you really don't get those spikes. So I don't use beads, so I don't know the answer to that. Mine's through the wall with digitally controlled, so it doesn't spike more than 5 degrees, and then my dehumidifier kicks on and cuts it back down to 70. So I don't have an answer for you.
Is what I would say. And
what do you got?
The same thing as Matt said, you may be recharging them too much. First thing for the beads, when you go to recharge the beads, only take half of them pretty much that you're using and recharge them. Leave the other half the way they are, because the beads are supposed to take the humidity out and in. If you recharge them fully, all they're doing is releasing the humidity, and there's nothing to bring it back in. I have actually never cared for beads myself. I've used them here and there, ever since I found the Boveda packs, like Mike said, or like my Cigar Oasis, it just, it seems to work so much easier. I mean, the Bovita pack, you just throw a pack in a Tupperware container, let it go until it starts drying out, and get another one.
Yep.
You know, you don't have to recharge it. You don't have to do anything with it. There again, you know, depending on how many beads you have, I mean, some people are using pounds of beads because they have these huge humidors. You know, Bovita packs aren't going to do a whole lot in that situation unless you buy a ton of them. But that's what I would say with the beads. I would say try only recharging half of them the next time and see how your humidity does. That way it'll probably still spike, or it won't spike, but it'll go up a little bit, but it should regulate real quick.
Right. And it depends on how you're storing them too. I mean, that's a tough question, not knowing, you know, do you have a little cabinet humidor? Do you have a big one? Tupperware, whatever you're using. But again, I mean, I've never used them, so I really can't say. If when I had my little humidor, I always used Bovita packs. That it just makes it easier. But hopefully that answers your question, Foozer. Thanks for joining us. And the consensus in the chat room is Bovita packs. So
I like Captain Bill's answer. Throw out your hygrometer.
That's another thing. That's a quick to that point. Make sure you're using a digital one. Hygrometer. Don't use it. If it came with that old analog round thing, throw it out. Don't use it. Get a good digital hygrometer. It's very, very important. Don't use that analog crap that comes with them.
I actually kind of agree with Captain Bill. You know, a lot of my stuff I don't even use hygrometers in. I think I have one that still works. And
is that why that shit comes to me mold all the time on? Okay.
Shut up. No. But no, I mean, like with the Bovita packs, even the beads, is once you get them down where, like, if you're wetting half and keeping the other half dry and it's stabilizing your humidity, you shouldn't need a hygrometer. It should keep that. That's what those beads are for. You know, if you have 65, 69, 70, 72, whatever percent you have those beads at, that's what they're set for. You know, Bovita packs are the same way. If you put a 65% Bovita pack in a humidor, that should never go above 65%. Well, it might go a little above, just depending on the weather and stuff.
I think it's one or two. Yeah,
but it's not going to be much. So I use my Cigar Oasis, which has the built-in, you know, to automatically come on. And other than that, honestly, I think all the other ones have died. I don't think I have another hygrometer left.
Really? I use them just because of my walk-in so big. I definitely use them. But I used it also. Matt made a good point. Make sure it's adjustable, but also make sure you can calibrate it. That's another important part. Make sure you can calibrate that hygrometer. It's important.
And, you know, I use.
So there you go, Foozer. Hopefully it works.
I use Bovita packs to calibrate hygrometers too. I said, the salt and water thing. Screw that. You know, put a Bovita pack in, throw your hygrometer in, close it up, let it go for a day or two, whatever it's reading compared to what the Bovita pack is set for, adjust. You're fine.
Okay. That could have been a question for another day. All right. Well, let's see. We got another one. This one is a tough one, and I'm gonna start it with you, buddy. Pam in Florida. Thanks for sending it in, Pam. She said, with the cigar industry being a male-dominant business, what are your thoughts on women in the industry?
I think it's great. I really do. It's so much like there's a lot of this male-dominated thing with, you know, the cigar world and such, and there's no reason a woman can't enjoy a cigar the same as a man. I think it adds a lot of diversity to the experience, and I think it adds a different perspective for the experience. I've known a lot of male and female people who love flavored cigars. You know, and it's interesting to see, like, a woman, if she moves from the flavored and goes to the non-flavored over time, and just get her ideas on what the difference is. Because for some reason, it just seems like their palates and everything else, they have a different perspective with what they eat, with what, you know, to do something like that. I think it's great.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think, I personally think it's sexy as hell to see a woman smoking a cigar. I think there are some great, talented, amazing women out there right now making cigars. I think they add a whole nother dimension to the industry, especially those who review them. It's great. It's another avenue, where we can all sit down, have a cigar, and we can all relate to something, whether we're male, female, black, white, doesn't matter what we are. I think it's great. I know there's a lot of people, I've seen it firsthand at B&M's. I know there's guys that snicker, that don't think it's the place, but I hate to tell you, guys, but it's a good thing. Believe me, it really is. And it's right, Captain Billy. And they're not ugly. You go look at most of the girls out there and the manufacturers, the women manufacturers, and the women on Twitter. They're all very pretty women. They're very smart, and I think it's great. So Pam, we think it's great over here at Stogie 411. So kudos to you and all the ladies in cigar industry.
And the other thing I have to say is, for women that want to get into cigars or have been in cigars, learn about the cigar. There's nothing greater than being able to go into a cigar shop and sit there with guys or other women or whoever and just talk about the cigar that you're smoking. Talk about the experience you had. Talk about, different aspects of the cigar that you like, that you don't like, and with that, you have to have a little bit of knowledge about the cigar itself. So, it always helps to definitely learn a little bit. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, and I think you see that though. I mean, if you're on Twitter or Facebook or you go to these events where these women are at, I think you see that a lot of them are very, very knowledgeable. They know what they're talking about, and they don't take a back seat to no one, and that's good, and you shouldn't, so I think it's great. Matt's got a question for you. He wants to know, what kind of conditioner does Mikey use?
I don't know.
He's talking about you, because I don't.
My hair conditioner? I don't know. It's like Suave 2-in-1 or something. I don't know.
Suave for women. That's what he's using.
It's cheap stuff. That's all I know.
It's Vidal Sassoon.
And it does a good job.
Use the same stuff Tom does. What's it? Tom used baby Vaseline, I believe. Speaking of Tom's, 2 damn weeks he's been gone, son of a bitch.
No VO5.
VO5.
No. Was that? All right. Here's another question. This is James in Texas sent this to us.
Yeehaw.
Why do some cigar manufacturers come out with new stuff every year, but people like Padron and Fuente don't as much?
Because they're Padron and Fuente. Crap. I don't know. My opinion, because I don't know the reason why. I'm not one of them. I think Padron and Fuente, in my opinion, they pretty much have, I don't want this to come out wrong. They pretty much have hit the benchmark, and they're consistent, and the cigars that they make, they're very consistent. Now, I know Padron comes out every so often with their anniversary cigars, and but if you look at it, their benchmark is set, and they make a great. Both of these people make a great cigar, where a lot of, not that the other guys don't make a great cigar, so I don't want it to sound that way, but I think that the other manufacturers are always looking to change things up. Some of them are looking to test the boundaries and try different stuff. The market's always changing, where I think Padrones and the Fuente, their focus has always been, if the tobacco's ready, we make it. If we can only make 1,000, we make 1,000. It doesn't matter. And they stay focused on what they want to sell and what they want to market. Where other manufacturers, they're either thinking outside the box, or they're they got some new tobacco. They're trying this, they're trying that. And I think it's good. I think a variety is good. I think, as I said before, if you're a cigar smoker, now is the time. I mean, there's so many great cigars coming out now. I mean, people are coming out with amazing stuff. And I don't think one is right and one is wrong. I really don't know the answer. But like I said, I just think that Fuentes and Padron, they decided to take it this way, and I think everybody else decided to take it that way. And I think everybody's seeing success because of it. What do you think, Mike?
I think after that response, you should go into politics. That was pretty damn good. I like that. Yeah. And it's honestly, it's a hard question to answer because you don't want to step on anybody's toes. You don't want to piss somebody off. You don't want to say, this company's doing something wrong. This company's doing something right, because everybody has their own thing that they're doing. And that's what's great about the cigar industry. And like Matt said, now they do bring out like new additions, the line extensions, different things like that. But it's nothing just massive that gets so much publicity, except one of the Anniversario editions or something like that. It's just one of those things where and actually Matt brought it up again. I think what I was going to say is they're established in the market. A lot of these other guys are still trying to come up through, still trying to get to that peak. They want to be a Fuente. They want to be a Padron. They want to have their core lines, and they want to be able to focus on the quality, the consistency, and then go from there every so often and come out with something, to enthuse people.
Right.
Now, I'll add another question to this one for you, Mike. I'm curious what you think.
Okay.
And you guys and gals in the chat room can answer also. How do you think that is going to affect the Fuentes and the Padrones in the future? Do you think it will have any effect with them staying more consistent with their lines rather than bringing something else out?
No, I think I don't smoke an extreme amount of of Fuentes and Padrones. A, I can't afford it, and B, I like variety, so I like to try all different brands. Not saying I don't smoke them, but I think you look at Fuente and Padron, you look at consistency, and I think Matt said it in the chat room. You could pick up a Hemingway from a long time ago, and you could pick one up now, and it tastes the same. It has the same consistency. They grow a certain tobacco. They know they're not pushing out, a ton of cigars if they can't. I think they're more about consistency, and I think that's important to a lot of people. And I'm not saying that no one else worries about consistency. I'm just saying I think the Padrones and the Fuentes will always be doing the same thing. Yeah, they'll come out with a special edition here or a line extension of this here, but not like everybody else is. And I agree. I don't know if everybody's trying to chase to be the Padrones or the Fuente, but I think they're trying to get to that certain area, that status of saying, hey, I can grab a cigar of whatever manufacturer from 10 years ago and grab it now, and it tastes the same. And I think people are striving and pushing the boundaries with stuff like that. Are Padrones missing out? Are Fuentes missing out on some other things? I don't know. Well, I guess time will tell, but I think as long as they have those farms and they're doing what they're doing, I think they'll always be around. I don't think you'll ever see it go away. And they make great cigars. A little pricey for my taste, but they make great cigars, plain and simple.
Well,
what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they're going to be going anywhere. Do I think it's going to hurt them in the long run? Not per se. I think they will lose some sales just because of the fact people, like you said, people always want to try something different, always want to try something new. And that's the only part of the market that I can see that they're missing out on just a little bit. It's nothing major because people are still going to go back. I mean, look at Opus X. I mean, if your local shop gets in Opus X and they price them reasonably, they're gone.
Yeah, and they're gone quick.
It's one of those things where everybody looks forward to it, and everybody snags them as quick as they can. So is Fuente doing something wrong? No. I mean, they're selling their cigars like hotcakes. The same way with Padron with their anniversary editions and things. It's just people know that the quality is there. A lot of people can't afford to go out and buy box upon box upon box, but they'll pick up singles here, singles there, singles here, to go along with their other smokes. So,
Here's another good avenue to twist on this. We'll take it even farther. A lot of people in the chat room are saying, and I noticed it even on Twitter, not that I'm huge on Twitter anymore, but you don't really see the Padrones on there. You don't really see Fuentes on there. Do you think they're missing the new media market, or is it do they really need to even hit that media market because of how big they are? I mean, come on, the Opus X is expensive, right? Let's be honest. But every damn year, every time somebody gets them, I know when I go in my shop, I love the Lost City. They're sold out. They're gone. People want. They're gone off the shelf. I mean, they go quick. Kind of like the Liga Privada, they limit you on them. In certain B&Ms, you can have one or two, but hey, we don't want to sell you the whole box. But they're always gone quick. So, do you think it's hurting them? Or does it even matter because they're missing out on the new social media with like Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that? What do you think?
Well, I would say, in all honesty, I don't think they really care a whole lot.
Okay.
And now I don't know the people personally or anything else behind it, but if, it goes with the question like we answered before, they're not bringing out brand new lines. They're not bringing out brand new things constantly. So,
Right.
People review their cigars. People, reviewed their cigars, 5 years ago. If you review it today, it should be the same cigar that it was then. So there's nothing new, just exciting, let's say, that they're bringing out. Now with the Lost City, I saw advertising when they brought the Lost City out. They was in tie-in with the movie. All that kind of stuff that Fuente did. In Twitter, Facebook, they have presence there, but I just don't think it's a focal point for what their consistent cigars are there for. They're not there to come out and say, bam, look at what we brought out new. Here's a limited edition that you're never going to get again. We have 5 cigars. Who wants them? Something like that.
Right.
And they're big enough where, in all honesty, they just really don't have to pay much attention to it. They do, don't get me wrong. I think they do a little bit per se. I mean, they probably watch our show every time it comes out.
Yeah. I'm sure we're right on the top of the list on that one. But
what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, again, politically correct answer would be, well, time will tell. I can't speak, in the future. If I could, I'd find out, why the hell am I sitting in this chair right now? But I think no matter what, are they missing out? I think they are missing out, but I think because of the consistency and the really great quality control, I think they'll be around forever. I don't think you'll ever not see a Fuente or a Padron on a shelf. I don't think that day will ever come. Could social media, the new Twitter, the new blogs and stuff like that, could that help? It probably could, but then again, any interview I've ever watched, because I do, watch other cigar interviews and stuff, and anytime somebody talks to a Patron, Jose, or talks to Fuente, they always say, if we can only make this amount, we're going to make this amount. It's about quality. So I think as long as that quality's there, they're always going to be around. And I don't see it going. I mean, I'll give you a quick example. I wasn't at IPCPR, but I know in watching an interview that Dion had nothing new from Illusion at IPCPR, and people were still lined up to get to talk to him. So that's proof that maybe you don't always have to come out with something new. Maybe the way they're doing it is working, Will it work 10, 15, 20 years from now? I guess, time will tell and we'll find out. But that was a good question. That was a nice question to get onto a different topic. Let's see.
Oh, well, I was going to say, then you have on the other hand, we had him on the show, we had Rocky Patel on the show. And everybody always says, Rocky and Gurkha are the ones just constantly new cigars are coming out, just constantly. So, are they right? Are they wrong? Just like Fuente Padron. Are they right? Are they wrong? I mean, it's working for what they want to do, for what they want to get out there. So who are we, as slobs sitting in chairs talking on microphones to say who's right and who's wrong. So, you
know, I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you. It's like this. People get mad on Twitter. New social media gets mad because, well, geez, you know, this manufacturer's not on here and he's not talking about this and this, and we're not getting any of this. Listen, before there was social media, they were still doing it the old school way, you know, going to B&Ms and doing everything. And a lot of these guys, if you look at, you know, some of these manufacturers are older people, some of them just haven't gone that way yet. Now, you know, maybe times will change and they'll start going that way. But, you know, social media and being a part of it, and I'm about to say this, it's a good thing, but it also is a bad thing sometimes. It really is. You know, if you don't get all your facts straight, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. And not that we always know what we're talking about, because we don't always have the answers. We give you, really, it's just an opinion. And that's, you can hurt somebody. You can hurt a cigar. You can hurt or help a cigar. And I think maybe they look at it that way. Maybe they're like, yeah, you know, do I really need to talk to this person? You know, how many Fuentes or how many Padrones do they smoke? Or they smoking? You know, it's a whole cluster. And then you get into the whole CA thing where everybody thinks, you know, hey, well, you know, that's because they're advertising over there. They get all that. And it may very well be. I'm not saying it's not. I just think I just think they're going to always be around, and I would be the first one to eat my words if they're not, because they're just they're the tops right now. It's simple as that, period, simply said, despite, you know, anything else. But time will tell. I don't know. Well, that's all the questions I got. Anybody got any more questions in the chat room? We want to thank everybody in the chat room again. The show flew by already today, man. I'll tell you, I like this show. I wish some of you would have called in. That would have been fun. You know, I liked the last show we had when people called in. It was nice to not call in. It was nice to see some of our viewers live on here and chat with you. It was really, really nice. We do appreciate it.
Oh.
Do you know if you guys received my email?
I don't think we did.
No, John, because we all three of us, if you send it to the generic email, it goes to all three of us. And I don't think we got it because I don't recall seeing it, but we can answer it. So go ahead and ask it,
all
Mike.
Right, John G would like to know. He said...
Matt says we got it. I didn't see it.
Anyway, 2012 was a very busy and exciting year for cigars in general. Releases, events, new manufacturers, etc. Based on what you have heard and are privy to, what are you most looking forward to from the cigar world in 2013?
I can answer that relatively quickly. Everything. Everything and anything. I think there's some, from what I heard, and again, I you know, here's another thing. I don't know what you can mention, what you can't mention, because, you know, people say things and they don't say things. From what I've heard from the grapevine, I think next year is going to be probably one of the best years, in my opinion, in the industry in a while. I think you're going to see some really, not that there wasn't amazing shit that came out this year, but from what I'm hearing in the back rooms, there's some really great cigars coming out next year. Again, I think, you know, being a cigar smoker, now is the time, you know, to be a cigar smoker. There's so many avenues out there to get help or to get some knowledge. You know, I mean, we use it ourselves. We're learning new stuff every day as well. But I think to really try a multitude of different cigars is now the time. And I think next year, I think you guys as viewers as well as ourselves are going to be shocked by a few smaller manufacturers are going to make a big splash, I think, next year. Just from smoking some prototypes that I've smoked, I think they're going to make a big splash. And that's just my dumbass opinion. That's all. So what do you think, Mike?
I really haven't had the chance to smoke anything really. I might have from one manufacturer, probably one that you did too, Mike. But other than that, it's, you know, I've heard some things, but I haven't really had anything solid yet, you know, on, you know, what's coming out, the blends coming out, different things coming out. And I just don't get the chance to try a lot of the test blends or anything else.
Yeah.
I think I know I heard it from a couple people this year, even over at the site. They were saying, it's like there were a lot of cigars this year. There were a lot of good cigars, but nothing just went wow, and just smacked you, and which was kind of surprising.
Right.
Now some did. I know like the Headley Grange with you, that was just amazing. When you smoked it.
It did.
For me, it was great. The first 2/3, and then it just went downhill for me. But that's my palate, your palate. It's different.
Yep.
Still a good cigar. So I can't really come out and say anything that I know is going to be 2013 that I'm looking forward to. It is what I would like to see. I would love to see some of these established companies, like we were talking, like Fuente Padron, CAO, some of these long-standing companies come out with something that makes people go, oh, interesting. Just something to come out, even like a little boutique cigar or something like that. And the other end of the spectrum, I said it in my review, and I said Fred, Godfather on Twitter, Nomad Cigars. I'm interested to see if he comes out with something. I'd like to see his sophomore cigar. I'd like to see what it's like. And I think boutique manufacturers have more pressure put on them for next year if they came out with a cigar this year, just because of the fact if you don't get anything new out, you kind of get stale real quick, it seems, in this industry. Year and a half, you got to have something coming out. So it's going to be interesting, but like I said, I can't really go on record and say anything that I've heard or tasted so far. So,
right, yeah, it's going to be a good year. I can see that. Let's see, real quick before we go. B. Delaney said he liked one of the ideas you guys had mentioned before about all smoking the same cigar on the show and discussing it, and that is still something we are most likely going to do. It's just a lot of details to work out, Bill, so we are working on that. And Captain Billy, I'm going to Matt and Mike are probably going to kill me for what I'm about to say, but I'm gonna throw it out there. For it's the last show of the year, and I'm going to give you guys a little insight. Not that it's anything great, but we think it is. And Captain Billy says, great show, happy new year. Same to you, Bill. Get some Stogie 411 swag. And we are actually working on that as we speak. We are actually, a quick little insight, our anniversary is March, and you're going to see a whole new Stogie 411 show, a whole new Stogie 411 website, and a whole new Stogie 411 logo, and swag, everything. So we are looking to take it to the next level. It's just it again goes back to that preparation. It takes a lot of time and money, and we got it coming. So I think we want it to be right. We want it to be perfect. I think everybody's going to be pleased with the website. I think when you see what we do, it's really going to shock some people. I think the logo is going to be pretty badass and unique. And we're going to get shirts. We're going to have hats. And we're going to take it from there. We're going to come out with some swag, and we'll be sure to be giving away some of that on the site as well. So, that's pretty much it. I want to quickly, if nobody has any more questions, I want to say Happy New Year to everybody in the chat room. Please be safe if you're out there. If you're drinking, find someone to drive you home because we need you back here. And plus, we don't want anything to happen to anybody. But I want to thank everybody in the chat room for making it another fun show. We really like doing this Ask It show. Again, not that we know all the answers, but we just give you our opinion on what we've tried. We got a lot of years smoking between us, and that's it. I just want to thank everybody. So I think stick around. Next year is going to be a even better year for us. I think, as more people, tell your friends about us, tell everybody about us. The more people we get into the chat room, the better. It makes it for a better chat. Tom, wherever you are, buddy, I hope you're having good New Year's, and everybody who couldn't be here. And that's it. What do you think, Mike? What do you got to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to wish everybody
a parting words.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and hopefully you got everything you wanted at Christmas time, if you celebrate Christmas. And it's going to be interesting next year. Now, Mike said about the show. The show's not going to change a lot. So, we're...
No, Mike's cutting his hair.
Yeah,
that's all.
I'm going to go bald next year, so...
and changing his background.
Well, no, we ain't going that far. But but no, it's going to be exciting. So hopefully you guys and gals stick with us, and we'll see you next year.
Yep. All right, guys. Have a good New Year's. We'll see you next year. Peace out.